Hello, and welcome to another episode of Design Tips and Sips with me, Anna Gibson of AKG Design Studio. If this is your first time, our channel is all about interior design tips and also fun sips while we're talking about design. So welcome. Today, we are going to be talking all about cabinetry. One of the biggest things that a lot of home owners always concerned about and have a lot of questions is about their cabinetry. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of options out there. So today we will cover style, material, cost, storage solution, and much, much more. But first, let's see what we're sipping today. Today, we are sipping on a mint cooler. So join me at the end of the episode to see the recipe. And also you will see the notes on the bottom with the recipe to make one for yourself as well. So let's get started. The first thing, most importantly, is the construction of the cabinetry. There's three main construction styles that are pretty much the most popular. And this is the things that you're going to be seeing while you're wondering. The first one is the most popular, especially in the US, is the frame cabinets. Frame cabinets is a full box that actually has a frame around it where the door is actually attached to the frame. So this is the most common construction in the US. And that also brings you the opportunity to create different style of doors on it. So the cheapest door probably going to be what we call traditional overlay, where you can see a lot of the frame around the cabinetry. The secondary will be the full overlay, which is much more popular in the last few years, where it covers all the frame. The frame, you can see the frame. So those usually also tend to cost a little bit more, but it gives you much more stylish design for your cabinetry. Frameless cabinets. Frameless cabinets is the ones that are more popular in Europe. We do see a lot of it now getting traction here in the US. A lot of the coastal cities like New York, Miami have a lot of frameless cabinetry there because they have a lot of people from Europe and from outside of the US. In the US, the industry is a little bit slow on the frameless, but we do have cabinetry that we actually get mostly from Canada. Those cabinetry are readily available. They do tend to cost a little bit more in the US, but it's really nothing to be scared about. The cool part about frameless cabinetry is that the door is actually attached to the box. There's no frame that is sitting in front. So if you can see on the photo, it attached just directly to the box, which means that it gives it a little bit more accessible. It has a little bit more room because there is no frame around it. You can bring and drag things directly in and out with not the obstruction of the lip. But with that, you can only have full overlay on the cabinets, meaning that there's just not going to be, the door has to cover all the frame to make sure that there's no gaps. So these are the two most popular one and the stuff that you're probably going to be looking around. The third one is the inset. So the inset creates a very, very unique, very traditional look for the cabinetry. The inset door is also a little bit tricky. So what inset means, that the door actually sits in the frame. So if we talked earlier about the traditional, which is there is a frame and the door sits on top of it, with the inset, the door is actually sitting inside the frame. So a few things to know about that. It's definitely going to be the most expensive cabinet out there. The secondary is that because it's sitting inside the frame takes a lot of space, and that means that it's going to take away from your storage or the accessibility into the storage. It also going to limit you to some of the accessories that are available for that type of door. And really the most important thing to realize that you will have to make sure that you have an installer that knows how to install those type of cabinetry, because everything needs to be absolutely straight and plumb. because every little movement in that cabinet, these doors are going to get stuck and they're not going to be straight, and you're not going to be able to open them correctly. The other thing with that is to make sure that you're able to keep a certain level of humidity and air temperature in your home. So if you're one of those like me that as soon as spring comes around, you love to open the doors and let the fresh air come in, even if it's a little bit humid, those cabinets are probably not for you, because those are really true full wood doors and they expand and contract, something that will happen with your other cabinets as well, but you're never going to notice it because they're not infringing on that frame. And if you have a inset, that door is going to get stuck and it's going to be pretty hard to able to open it. So you're going to have some issues with that. So this is really some of the things that you need to take under consideration when looking at inset cabinets. Again, I'm not saying not to get it. I'm just saying think about your lifestyle. And if you are going for a very traditional, if you're going for a high-end farm style, that is definitely a phenomenal style. If you're looking for different options, there are framed cabinets, regular traditional construction. They mimic the look of the inset cabinets without actually getting into the inset look. So make sure you look around with the different cabinet styles. All right, now to the question of the day. What cabinet do you currently have? What style? And what if you're going to be upgrading your kitchen tomorrow? What is missing? Or what do you think is going to be the style or the one thing that you want to upgrade in your kitchen cabinets if you get to do it tomorrow? So drop some comments and click like. Let me know what is missing in your kitchen or what style you will go next time you remodel your kitchen. Now let's talk about modification. There are 3 types of cabinet construction that are available in the market. Stock. Stock is really the most basic cabinets that you can find. You most likely can find them in the big box stores. Some of them are not even going to be assembled, but they come as is. You cannot do any modification to them. It's that one color, one door style, and that's it. And that the other style. Anything else that you want to do to that cabinet, you better be a good carpenter or have a good carpenter that can do some DIY for you. But other than that is really just buying the boxes as is. Most of the time they come with no accessories, but you need to do them aftermarket. Selling point, they're super, super cheap. And so if you're looking to do a quick upgrade in your garage, in your basement, maybe even a rental, nothing that you need to do any customization or you don't really care, you just need some extra storage in some room, those cabinets are perfect. Like you can probably even install them yourself. Easy peasy. But remember, there's going to be no modification. Most of our clients and most of us, we work with the semi-custom cabinets. So semi-custom cabinets come directly from the manufacturer. They are sold through designers like me, through your contractors. You will not find them usually in the big box stores. And what they mean is that semi-custom, it means that you can do some modification. So it means that they have different colors that are available on the same door. So let's say we're talking about a shaker door. You will have like 6 different colors that are available. And it's probably also available in cherry and maple and oak and different type of woods. And it will let you do some modification. So again, we want to make sure we're customizing the cabinetry for you. So there's going to be different accessories that are available for different cabinetry style, different minor modification, maybe reducing the depth of the cabinet. That's usually seems to be a standard one that even in the lower end of semi-stock or semi-custom cabinets are have that availability. But again, very, very minor modification, but still gives you the opportunity to create some customization for your particular kitchen. There's also the high end of the semi-custom, which means that you are able to do more modification, depends on the cabinet line, and then they will give you opportunity to change the height of the cabinet, remove the doors of the cabinet, finish the inside of the cabinet. So now if you have a cabinet that has glass doors, then you can actually have the inside matching versus just having, I've seen a client that they had a contractor, they just put regular stock cabinets, which was very odd because the cabinet was gray on the inside. They put glass on it, and inside it was that regular maple veneer, which was not matching. So it looked odd. So again, it's just those little touches that when you work with a designer, where you work with a semi-custom cabinet line, those are the things that we pay attention to make sure that everything matches and everything works out together. Custom cabinets is a whole new ball game. That's pretty much wherever I can draw, wherever you can draw, wherever we can dream, that can be done. So again, there are some bigger cabinet lines out there. There's a lot of carpenters out there, private companies, and that's pretty much the sky's the limit. Any color, any finish, exotic wood types like walnut, like African mahogany, really whatever you think, that can happen. But just remember, those also come with a cost. A lot of the time, I do prefer to use custom cabinetry actually on smaller kitchens, just because we have such a small space and we want to take advantage of every little inch. So that gives me the opportunity to really, instead of using fillers and kind of try to work around the space, I actually use custom cabinetry to make sure that everything fits perfectly and we really address every little nook and cranny without losing inches on cabinets that are not the right size. Next up, cabinet material. So there's 4 different common cabinet material that are used to actually build the boxes and also impact the doors as well. So for the boxes, most common, cheapest out there is going to be the MDF and particle board. A lot of actually the frameless cabinets, because they use very cool veneers, finishes on them, the best way to adhere it is actually to a particle board. So it doesn't make them any cheaper, but that's really the best way for them to adhere those laminates and the different veneers. So pay attention that a lot of the frameless cabinetry are going to be MDF and particle board. Most of those traditional classic American cabinets we're looking at, they will start, especially the stock cabinetry, will start with particle board, and then it will go up into plywood, which we call furniture board. And that is usually an upgrade. So it's not something that is basic. So when you're looking at your cabinetry, when you're working with your designer, make sure that you specify and you talk to them and you understand exactly what you're getting. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with particle board. We done beautiful kitchen and spaces with particle board because especially when you're working with laminate material on it, that's the only way to do that. But a lot of the times when we are working in spaces like bathrooms that can be wet and have more of a tendency to get water damage, then I would try to make sure that we're using material that is plywood, because particle board, the moment you get a little bit of water in it, it expands and that cabinet is done. With plywood or furniture board, that is actually like a really solid piece of wood. So when you're talking to anyone, they're telling you that they're selling you solid wood cabinet, just so you know that the box is actually going to be made out of plywood. And then again, depends on the cabinet line. It can go from 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch sides, and the most expensive cabinet line, which is going to be custom, probably going to be around the 3/4 inch. The cheaper cabinet line or the lower cost cabinet line probably going to be about half of an inch. A lot of times you can actually work around it and save yourself some money and maybe upgrade just the sink cabinet and the cabinets that are around the sink. Again, wherever you have opportunities to get water damage, upgrade just those cabinets and just keep the rest of them as particle. So then you can actually save those cabinets, because cabinets that are plywood, you can actually fix them and reuse them. Again, particle board, really, really hard to reuse them. MDF, I mentioned MDF. A lot of the doors now, no matter how high end the cabinet lines, a lot of the doors, especially the painted cabinet doors, are going to be MDF. And I've seen a movement in the cabinetry line that even with the higher end of cabinet lines, that they're MDF. And the reason is that, we talked about it earlier, that wood tend to expand and contract. So if you have a painted cabinetry, the wood and the paint on it is going to expand and contract. So, but with the MDF, you don't have that movement. So if you have a painted cabinet, in order to avoid seeing that seam falling apart, opening up, seeing the paint around the edges suddenly disappear, probably using MDF is the best solution. So don't worry if you are buying even in a higher end cabinetry doors and if they're painted, they're made of MDF. Most of the 99% of the stained doors, so the wood colors are going to be wood, and then they're going to be corresponding to whatever wood you're selecting. So it's going to be cherry with whatever finish is on that. Now, with the more contemporary, like we talked about with the frameless cabinetry, it's very common to use veneers and wood laminates. So again, those are very popular, very European style. And with that, the sky's the limit, because you can actually get really high-end wood look on a cheaper look, because it's not the full wood, it's just the veneer. So if you want crosscut cherry, it's probably going to be cheaper for you to get it as a veneer than getting a full cherry door, that will tend to be more expensive. Beyond that, you can get very high-end shiny color. So if you want super high gloss white, red, blue, green, whatever color you need in your space, those veneer and laminates are absolutely fabulous. And actually, one of the other things that now is very, very popular, it's the PET leather, which is kind of a fake leather that makes the cabinet look like it's covered with leather, and it gives it beautiful, beautiful texture. I love using those in bars area. I love using it in bedrooms when we're adding cabinetry for your closet, to give it just that upgraded extra touch that doesn't look like your rest of your house, and really gives it that next level of cabinetry. So again, take a look. There's a lot of options out there as far as the finishes. And again, that will also impact your cost. So those are things to consider when you're looking at the different finishes. All right. So let's talk about cabinet hardware. So I would say, as a general, most of the cabinet lines, except the very, very low end stock cabinets, now have all the bells and whistles. And what I'm saying is that most of the cabinets right now have really nice hinges that are, most of the time, are 6-way adjustable. But again, take a look. I love the 6-way adjustable because they move in and out, up and down, and sideways. So if your cabinet door for some reason looks a little bit crooked, it just takes a little touch of a screw inside. You don't need to call a handyman. You can do it yourself. And I know in my old kitchen, I had that one cabinet door. I don't know why, but I think that was probably the most used cabinet door in my kitchen at the time. So it always tend to be a little bit off track. I don't know why, but it was super easy to just take the screw, open the cabinet, the screw, and just simply adjust it. Again, now 2025, most of the drawers are soft close, full extension, means that the drawer comes all the way out. You push it and it closes nicely. You don't have to deal with pushing the drawer all the way in, and you have that full access of the drawer. Again, this is general. If you are looking at the ready to assemble cabinetry, if you're looking at the very low stock cabinetry, a lot of times they might still have the ball bearing hardware, which sits on the side and doesn't have all these features. So, and some of the cabinetry line do come as that, and to have the soft close and full extensions are going to be an upgrade. So again, when you're talking to your cabinet person, your designer, make sure that you understand whether these features are custom or they are built into the cabinet line that you are selecting for your kitchen. Another question that everybody asks is the pulls and the knobs. So no, they do not come standard on the cabinetry. No, they're not coming pre-drilled. Those are totally separate. Yes, you can order it from the same cabinetry line. A lot of the cabinetry manufacturer out there offering those as part of the part of their offering, so you can match those to your cabinetry. We use different cabinet manufacturer and different hardware because we want to make sure that the hardware is really perfect. So we go and really make sure that the hardware matches everything else that we need within the kitchen, which means that your contractor or your carpenter going to be the one that is actually going to drill the holes for your hardware. So it doesn't matter what you're selecting, whether it's knobs or handles or whatever different pulls, finger pulls, those are going to be done on location, and you don't have to worry about the cabinets coming pre-drilled for anything specific. So that is just something that you don't have to worry about. Now for the fun part, cabinet storage solution. So why just stop in the boxes? Yes, you can just get boxes, but those do not make your kitchen. This is not makes it into a functional kitchen. That does not make it into anything that you're going to enjoy doing. Now, if you already have a kitchen that was done a couple of years ago, you don't really feel like you need to redo your kitchen, you have great cabinetry, a lot of these things can be done aftermarket. You just need to make sure, again, you work with a designer or a carpenter that makes sure that those actually fit your cabinetry, because not all accessories are made equal. There are several accessories manufacturers out there. So Ravashelf is one of the big ones in the market here in the US. Hefele, there's another German one that I am not even going to try to pronounce their name. Richelieu from Canada, it's another really great one. And those really help you customize your kitchen to make sure that it really is working for you and for your lifestyle. So if you're a baker and you love using your KitchenAid, there are KitchenAid pop-ups that are absolutely fantastic. One of the latest kitchens that we did, it's a very, very small kitchen. We needed to add creative ways to add additional countertop space. So we use the countertop drawer extension from Richelieu. So you just open it up and you actually have additional cutting board and a space, and then you close it and you're done. So I absolutely love that. So when we work with our clients, we make sure that we don't just throw cabinets willy-nilly, and we make sure that every accessories that we're putting in there is going to fit what they're going to do in that specific area, in that workspace, in that workstation. Of course, rollouts are the most popular one that are being used right now. And also, don't forget accessories in your bathrooms as well. I know we're talking about cabinets, so, everybody directly thinks just about kitchen, but now there's absolutely amazing accessories for bathrooms as well. So now we have rollouts that have cutouts on the bottom, so we can actually add rollouts under the sinks, which means that that crazy space under the sinks is way more usable right now and easy to organize. So you don't have to go to, you know, Target or Walmart or wherever it is to buy all these boxes to actually get yourself organized after you finished a full remodel. Also, there is what they call vanity pullout. These are absolutely amazing because they have the plug-in for your hair dryer, for your blow dryer, for your, I don't know. I don't use any of that. So I always ask my clients, like the hair straightener, they even have buckets for it, metal buckets. So you just put them to cool down. You don't have to keep them on your countertop. It's already plugged in. So you don't have to worry about wires all over your new beautiful countertops. And you also have room for additional makeup stuff. Again, just keep it out of the way and off your countertop. So these are some of the things that are available for bathrooms. Highly recommend take a look at them when you are doing your remodel. So now the biggest question that everybody always asks is, how much all this is going to cost me? The answer is, I don't know. Like, it can be really, as we talk, we can do stock cabinetry and it can be super cheap and on the budget, and it can be full custom and it costs you a pretty penny. But everything that we talked about, that whether it's the style of cabinet, the construction of the cabinet, the accessories of the cabinet, the color even of the cabinet, are going to impact the cost of your cabinetry. So when you're looking at your remodel, and I always tell my clients, everybody has a budget. Even if it's $1 million budget, it's still a budget. And I still need to bring my contract and my pricing within those budgets. So I always want to make sure that I talk to my clients and make sure that we understand the priorities of the project and what are we trying to do for our clients. So maybe it's just a smaller space that we're just trying to make it pretty. So maybe the exterior is more important than the interior. So we are probably going to look at some cabinetry that look pretty and enhance the space. Usually it's a powder room, maybe a bar area in the basement that we don't really have to worry about daily use. So now we're going to put a little bit more of our budget on the exterior of the cabinet, but spaces like your primary bathroom, like your kitchen that you use every day and all the time, we want to make sure that those spaces are functional. So we want to make sure that the accessories are just as important as the quality of the cabinet and the exterior of the cabinet. So those are all the things that you want to take under consideration when you're going out shopping for your next kitchen or bathroom or whatever space it is, cabinetry. All right. So here's my tips for choosing your cabinetry. Set realistic expectation early on before you start this adventure. Consider your lifestyle and storage needs. Remember, we talked about where is that space is going to be. Think about the overall kitchen and bathroom, whatever it is, aesthetics. So again, what is the design style that you're going for? Traditional, modern, that's going to impact the cabinetry that you are looking for. Get multiple quotes for multiple cabinet manufacturer and suppliers. Don't get too many. A lot of times, you can get up to 3. Don't go too crazy because then you're just going to get really bogged down in the numbers. And again, not all the time, all the cabinets created equal. So you might get a little bit confused about comparing quotes because they have different components and the way they are building stuff can be a little bit different. Don't underestimate the impact of hardware. People, this is the one thing that people forget. They're like, oh, hardware. It's only $5, $7, $10, but you don't realize you actually need 50 of them. So suddenly from something that looks like it is $5, you end up with a $500 bill. So again, take that under consideration when you're looking at hardware. Again, hardware comes in different type, style, costs. You can find it as cheap as $2 and you can find it as expensive as $200 per piece. Some spaces will require those high price hardware and some of them don't. Again, it all depends on your aesthetic and what you're looking for. So this is it. So thank you so much for joining me today and talking about all about cabinetry. We're going to head out to the kitchen and I'll show you how we're making our cocktail. And if you are not a subscriber, this is the time to do it now. So go click below right now, subscribe, turn the bell on to make sure you get the notification. We drop a new episode every week on Wednesday. And drop your comments. Tell us what you thought about this episode. Tell us what other topics you want us to talk about. If you want to be a guest, email me directly. Take a look at the show notes and hope you join us. Cheers. Now we are in my kitchen and we are going to make the mint cooler today. So very, very simple recipe. Great to make for guests or just for yourself. So don't need that much. I actually am using the Ketel One Citron vodka. We're going to need club soda, simple syrup. If you wonder why I actually broke the bottle in the previous episode, so I had to change that. We need some lemons and mint. That's pretty much it. So what you're going to do, you want to make sure that you use a martini or a fun glass, put it in the refrigerator, even in the freezer, so it's nice and cold and we don't need to add extra ice to it. The first step is you take a couple leaves of your mint and you're just going to, probably about 6 leaves should be enough. And you're just gonna throw them in here. You're gonna add ½ an ounce of the simple syrup. Just like that. And we're just going to muddle it. Try not to make too much noise. So you muddle it, make sure it's really, really good. You can get all that minty flavors from out there. Now we're going to add 3 ounces of the club soda. Again, I love using my soda stream. There's nothing added. It's just my tap water and I have fresh soda wherever I need it. We're gonna add that and we're going to add our vodka. So this we need about 1.5 ounces. So we have 1 and 2. That should be good. All right. And now we're going to give it a good stir. We're going to make sure that we put 1 lemon into our cup, some mint for decoration, and just pour it in. Stick your straw and you're ready to go. Cheers.